Welcome to the Vitor Hill Show. I come live every single day. So click the bell to be notified when I come live. Now, I've been corrected in the chat box of YouTube, and if you want me to read your comments, you have to come to YouTube. I put on there that my mother was a very special guest, but my apologies, Jimmy. Our mother is on today, all right? The show's mother is on today. And I am excited. We're going to interview her. If you have any questions for her and I, please come to YouTube and put it in the YouTube chat. That's the only chat I'm reading today is YouTube's. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, come to YouTube. Now, before I bring my mother on, ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between in the non-binary, let me say this. This is a variety show. So every Monday is a podcast-style show where I bring special guests on and we talk and we connect in a very free-flowing way, all right? Then on Tuesdays is Hot Topics. Wednesday is Spirituality and Consciousness. Thursday is, and Friday is Hot Topics. Saturday, Spirituality and Consciousness. And Sunday is Hot Topics again. Susexa Raven says, I love your energy. I love you for loving my energy. It took me a while to get this space in my life where I can give this kind of energy. And the lady that I'm about to bring up is 100%, well, not 100%. She shares 100% of the responsibility because, you know, I have a really nice, good, functioning father as well. And I don't need that drama in my life, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, all the way from the huge metro city of Burlington, North Carolina. None other than the Mary Angelene Hill.
That's funny.
Woo. Hey, Ma, how you doing today?
Hi, Vince. How are you?
I'm blessed, highly favored.
Oh, Lord. That's what this is looking like. Okay.
For now, the first 5 minutes at least.
Okay. Remember, keep your manners. Keep your best manners forward.
My best manners forward. Oh, thank you very much, Singleton for Life with the energy. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Ma, a lot of my spunkiness comes from this lady to my right. Ma, where do you think your spunkiness comes from? Is that generational? Is the rest of your family spunky? Where does this energy comes from?
Wow, amazing you would ask. When I consider all things, I think it was just something that I would say born with, but I won't go that level. I would say just an attitude that I decided that I want to be a part of my personality. And the whole idea of deciding, you know, I would take life, and if I'm given lemons, I can either take those lemons and frown up because it tastes like a lemon, or I can take the lemon and make lemonades and just be happy about it.
Right. One of the things, and we just might as well just get into a conversation here. And I do have a video I want to show you, and I need your absolute opinion on it. But before I even go there, one of the things that I've thought that's interesting is you are, like myself, a free spirit. And but you were raised in a different time than I was raised in. So some social construct, you know, you're from the time where, you know, the woman is supposed to stay in her space, stay in her place. The woman's job is to be the infrastructural backbone of the family, to cook, to blah, 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 blah. How have you been able to survive all of that, being the free spirit I've always known you to be?
Well, I don't know that I can say that I survived in the context of survived, because at some point I was guilty of living to the standards of society, that says it should look like this, it should look like that. But at some point, because I knew that was not who I was, and I was kind of tired, done with living the life that others felt that I should live, or my perception should be, my behaviors should be as was dictated by others, whatever others may look like. And I decided I like me, and I'm going to be happy with me. And I decided one day, just Just be who you are. Don't be concerned whether people like it or not, because being who you are, you will be happy.
Mm,
And this has been years. This has
mhm,
been years
mhm.
ago. And
That's-
I took on that mindset. I'm just gonna be Angeline.
Well, someone called you a rebel.
Yeah, well, I heard that even yesterday.
Oh, so hey,
Yes.
right.
Mhm.
And
And preaching this yesterday.
that
Yeah.
someone is Larry Reed Live. He's on right now, and he said that you're a rebel.
Ask Larry Reed how he know what a rebel looks like.
Oh, well, I think he heard you. Yeah, but see, I think I know that's where I get it from. I absolutely know. I will wake up in the morning choosing violence. I wake up in the
Ah,
morning ready to turn over tables, and it's really funny because you, audience, our mother, the V. Terrell Hill Show's mother, will have the nerve to be like, "Well, why are you doing what? What, Lord? What have I done got wrong?" I just be praying and praying. I don't know where I went wrong, God. And I'm thinking to myself, well, she ain't got
ah.
blonde hair. Listen, it ain't nothing for me to get on Facebook. And I never forget it. I'm scrolling through Facebook, right? And I'm just scrolling. And I see this lady in a pool with a bathing suit on, talking about, "Hi, everybody. I'm just enjoying myself." And her little friends with their bathing suits on. And I'm saying, why am I pent up, stressed out, and at work when my mother is somewhere in Florida swimming in a pool, showing skin?
Hey, listen, I don't think it's appropriate to get in there with a clergy outfit on. Neither do I think it's appropriate to get in there with a coat and boots on. Hey, this is it right here.
That was not on my bingo card. That was not in my
I
bingo
think I
card.
think I'm gonna take my glasses off. I might be able to see you better.
Okay. Yeah, no. Subsexual Raven says that tell her I get it from my mom. Oh, absolutely, I get it from my mom, 100%. My,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And we're both Geminis too, very much so. So we are the best way I describe Geminis is a cross between Kanye West, Donald Trump, Tupac Shakur, and so,
Mm. I'm gonna change my birthday.
but
Hmm.
all of those people have one, including us two, have one thing in common. We break the rules.
Oh my God! Don't say it like that.
What? How would you?
Well, I wouldn't want to call it break the rules.
Uh-huh.
I would call it uh, 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 yeah, right, right. And amazing because I read this thing yesterday because I'm always reading stuff that talks about being better show host and
uh,
your do's and you don't.
uh-huh.
And one of the things it says is do not do the
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and here I come with it says pause if you need to,
Uh-huh.
but the is not a good idea.
Oh.
I wouldn't say break the rules. I would say
Uh, uh,
operating out of the norm.
okay. Oh, okay. So the one thing
Yeah.
that we all have in common is we break the rules. So so I mean, but for
Okay.
those that like it more poshed and polished, we operate out of
Mhm.
the norm. So
Right.
yeah. Hey, you know what's funny? I'm sorry, man. Carolyn, you know what's crazy? The moment I just thought, where is Carolyn? And then you pop up with, "Hey, y'all. Hey, Carolyn, my most favorite of all. How you
Hi,
doing?"
Carolyn.
So, yeah, uh, there's so much I want to get into, and all of it is rather deep. And so let's just jump into the deep. Is that good?
Okay,
Um,
that's cool.
so you were raised. I would love you to tell the story about what my grandmother, your mother, said to you concerning education, and then how you wrestled with that statement, and then what
Wow,
you did to combat that statement. Now,
wow.
I would like to say, because like you are not a woman that's small on words. So we got a lot to cover today, all right?
Okay.
So,
Well, I have to go all the way to the depth of it and climb the ladder and then go. Now, here's the point, y'all. I know da 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 da. but yeah, okay, gotcha.
But
Well,
before you start, y'all want to hear this story. Now, for those that've been
wow.
watching the show, you've probably heard me tell it, but you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. Do not go anywhere. And if you have found value in the show so far, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. If there's any other comments on Facebook or Twitter, I'm only reading YouTube comments. Y'all have to hear this story. All right, Mama, the floor is yours.
Wow, wow. Well, I want to preface what I'm about to say with the fact that during that time, single parenting was hard, and a single mother, in this case, my mother was doing everything she knew to do to not thrive, but survive type thing. And so I had this notion, what these recruiters come to the schools trying to recruit people into the military. Then there would be college representatives coming to the schools, the ninth grade, telling us about college and everything. And I was intrigued with the whole idea that I could go to college. And I went home that day and told my mom about it. And now, from the position she was in, not knowing where the next meal would come from. Now, I was raised, it's absolute poverty.
Mm,
Somebody might call it challenging times, but it was absolute poverty.
right.
And from where she was, it's like, girl, my mind is on where we're gonna get the next meal from, and you're telling me you want to go to college. If you don't go somewhere, your high-minded self. And she took and knocked the wind out of my sail and everything. And it was so traumatic that I never ever brought it up again. I don't
Mm,
even remember thinking about it again. But what I do remember, as I became an adult, married, had children, it was just deep inside. I always felt that I had to go to school.
mm,
One reason, I don't know if you told this part of it or not. One reason was because it's something I wanted to do. Another reason, I felt that I was so gifted and I was by God, and that there was purpose in the earth that required me to have a higher education.
hmm
That I felt that if I died, if I left this earth without going to college, that it was not going to be good for me to stand before God to be judged. That was
mm.
just my thoughts, whether that was right or wrong,
Right, right, right.
off the scale or whatever. And so I kept saying, God, I've got to go to school. Well, now I'm an adult, but we're in the military, your dad in the military,
Right,
which was another challenge because you get somewhere, you stay 2 years, 3 years, and you're up and gone again.
right.
And back during those times, it was not online education. It's not like I could just be anywhere in the world and just click on the computer. It was literally in person type thing. So I was challenged again. But what I did to satisfy that, I was always at a community college, at a university somewhere, taking a class, something that was not long term, but it was fulfilling, kind of, sort of, that desire.
hmm
And so I remember when we were in Hohenfels, Germany, I literally left my husband and went back. You guys were gone already. Came
Right,
back to the U.S. of A. to enroll into Feather State.
right.
Because my family was there, my brother was there. I'd have somewhere to live.
hmm
Without that type of a challenge. And it was all because, and he agreed to it because he saw me being eaten alive with this desire to go
Right,
to school.
right.
And he felt that he had to release me. And he did that. I went back to Fayetteville and went to Feather State, and after a while, I went back to Germany. But then, because even then at Feather State, that was 2002, at 1 and 2, they were not doing online, not intensity as it is now.
Right.
You might find a course or two, but anyway, here I am today. I've been accused of being an overachiever because when I got into that school, man, I went all the way in. I am actually enrolled in a doctorate program now that I'm about to say, yeah, I'm about to say, forget this, man. All my brains are running all over the place.
So you have
But
a
yeah,
you have a ma-
that was
you
the
have a
reason for that.
bachelor's.
No, I have two masters.
Oh,
I have a master's in secular counseling and a master's in Christian counseling,
so you have
and
a
I have several certifications: suicide prevention, life coaching, health
mm,
coaching, wellness coaching,
mm,
and counseling,
mm.
mentoring. I have all of this stuff going on, and I'm happy.
Okay, we get it. Ugh,
Well, you asked.
just bragging, flexing.
Oh,
When did you start? When did you? So here is the meat of this story. Number one, no matter who or what speaks into your life, you can make a decision at any
yes.
moment in your. What age did you start school, Mom?
You mean like in
When
the
you
beginning of life?
when you started working on your higher education?
Oh wow. I started like 1980. Yeah, I was there like in my late 20s. Then I kept here, there, a little bit everywhere. But when I actually went to school was I was in California actually. Yes.
How old
In
was that?
fact, I was diagnosed. It was when I was diagnosed with that breast cancer.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? This is letting me know I need to go on and do something. So I grabbed my husband. I said, come on, we're going over here to the University of Phoenix, and we're
Uh-huh.
going to school. And he was like, no, ma'am, I'm not doing it.
Uh-huh.
And so I drug him by the hand, and we both enrolled. He graduated, because the military paid for everything for him. But during that time, I had to pay out of pocket. So he graduated with honors and moved on. And I had to stop for a minute till I got them that $4,000 and da 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 da. But once he retired from the military and received full benefit, then all of my schooling was paid for.
Right. So what age did you like start like when you said, "Okay, I'm about to get this paper."
Oh, I was 50,
See, okay.
52,
There you go.
52.
And that's where I was trying to
Yeah.
go. It does
Okay.
not matter
It
what
does not
age
matter.
you start. If you got something in your heart, do it.
Hmm. Yes. Yes. Do it. Vincent says, Derek. I says, do
Ah!
it.
No, like really do it. I
Do
mean,
it.
do
You have to do
this is somebody's been watching for a sign, and you know why it's not gonna come to pass? Because you ain't like this show.
it. Y'all, please like so it can come to pass. My goodness. Ooh, that's
No,
intense.
no, but serious. There's somebody looking for this is your sign. Just do it right
Do
now.
it.
Start
Yeah.
at 52 years old. Now, how old are you, Ma?
I'm 67 now.
So, I pray to God I look like you at 67 years old.
You will. You look just like me now. You will.
Oh, I hope so, because I cannot. Anyways, so at 67 years old, now she has a bachelor's, two masters, and about what, 10 certifications and working on her doctorate.
It's 6, 7, something like that. Yeah.
Do it. Do it. And so that is the moral of the story. All right, let's get into some more stuff here. Now, let's just deep dive in, all right? Some of you are estranged from your family, okay? You're not talking to your mother, your father. You don't like your brother, sister. You don't even like your kids. And
Um,
your kids
you
getting
know,
on your nerves. All right, Carolyn says, I started at 38 and thought I was late. Woo, no, Carolyn, you right on time.
no, baby. You were a toddler.
Right. So my relationship with you, my father, has not been a crystal stair. Matter of
Okay.
fact, the five of us, I have an older brother, an older sister, then it's me, and then my mother and father. We were blessed to be raised in a nuclear traditional home that was extremely Christian and very Pentecostal. Got to matter.
Dang.
Good. So, so then we all,
When it spared your life,
you said what you said now?
it spared your life. That bucking and jumping spared your life.
I mean, it did what it was supposed to do. It gave what it's supposed to had gave. But
Amen.
the thing is this.
Amen.
But then as we got older, life was rough, right? So the baton that was passed to you and dad was better than what was passed to my grandparents. So then, even though we're at a space now, we had to grow into this space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about parents, because my medium age is, I think, 34 to 44. And then I think it's 33 to 56 is the medium age of people that listen to my show. So some of these people have kids that are getting older now. I was supposed to be the guy that took over dad's church and be prophesying and praying. Then I turned out what some would say the opposite of that, but you can kiss my holy. And well, not you,
What?
Ma, but anybody else that got something to
No,
say about
anybody.
it. Okay, all
What?
right, fine. You can you can you can imagine kissing my behind then. Is that better?
Not really.
At any rate, the point is,
Ooh, I made a mistake and exited.
don't go nowhere.
I
Yeah.
made I made a mistake and got off the computer somehow.
Right. Yeah, my mom is good for coming on, and then as soon as I say something that looked like it's left, leaving immediately. Talking about, bye, y'all, I'm gone. How, what do you think? What would you tell the parent that's struggling to connect with their child because life been lifing, and the child that's struggling to connect with their parent? What advice would you give knowing that you have a relationship of some sort with all of your kids now that you didn't have before?
Hmm. Well, it all depends on the experiences, what led to what, how the people involved are, their temperament. Uh, for me, my temperament has never been that I'll show you, you'll come to me crawling before I come to you. It's never been that.
Right.
I just don't think, honestly, I don't think it's a healthy for anyone to be estranged from them that they love. A
Hmm.
family. Let's talk about family. Is I don't think it's a good idea, and I know nobody sees everything the same from the same perspective or whatever. But I believe that we can talk about it. We can iron out the differences. I One of the things that your brother, your sister has never been shy about was telling me, especially me.
Uh oh.
I would say me and dad, but it's me.
Uh oh, y'all.
Never been shy about telling me how y'all feel. I was such a crappy mammy. I was, you know,
Ah!
all of this and so but let me say to the audience, you cannot in this family here. I would to God you don't have tender skin because you won't last long.
you can't. You cannot be sensitive.
You cannot be sensitive. So in this family we have this tendency to just lay it all out there. And if we see you struggling, we'll pray for you then, but we don't think about all that.
Uh-huh.
And so my two sons and my daughter has not a problem with saying you were crappy, da 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 da
Hmm.
da. So now, well, I heard them. Their language was somewhat off the chart, but I heard the message.
Right.
And so I did some soul searching, understanding that nobody is perfect. Even parenting, you can really mess up some stuff
Right.
trying to do the best you know how to do.
Hmm.
And so I messed up some stuff. I had no idea that I was damaging them for life. I thought I was saving their souls. I thought I was keeping them from the perils of life, when in fact I was doing just the opposite. But and I appreciate them sharing that because it brought me to a certain light. I was able to look back and say, wow, God, I had no idea. Or even able to say, hey, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. If you can muster up enough of anything within to forgive me, please do so.
Mm.
And I did that. Well, now a couple of them just kept running back to me with it over and over again. But at that point, I said, listen, I've already apologized. There's nothing any of us can do. We cannot turn back the time. We cannot turn back the clock. This type thing. And so for a while, I just relived it over and over again. But I got to a point I was like, you know what? As horrible as it is, none of us can fix it. So we'll just have to move forward. And what I did do, I allowed them to talk about it over and over again until they were able to get to a place that they could talk about it without being moved by it. Because Vincent, especially for you, even talking about it, you would break down and just cry and everything. And so literally we had to put prayer in that God would heal you. and heal me for the damage because now I'm hurting knowing that I hurt you
Right.
and your brother and sister.
Right.
And so it took God stepping in to kind of mend some stuff. Did it take it away? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, what was done, but it put us all in a space where we were able to talk about it. We learned some things from it,
Mm.
you know, because back in my day, you know, whatever you felt, you better swallow hard because it
Right.
will not part your lips, not and you live to tell about it type
Right.
thing. And so, you know, what tends to happen, what we learn is what we live by.
Hmm.
But as I grew to the place, the Lord brought me to a place of understanding that that was not okay. I was damaged and didn't even realize I was
Mm.
damaged. It's all we knew. You know, when if an adult said is this, is this. If they tell you that sky is purple, go ahead and write down purple sky because it's purple
Right. Right.
type
Right.
thing.
Right.
But things get different now, and we were able to, and you guys were able to heal, especially you. If I'm allowed to say it, that mouth of yours, we would get ready to go backwards because I was almost at the place. Oh, you think I hurt you? Then watch this. You know, because I mean, there was no end to you, man. Oh my God. But I'll say this. I will say this. When the Lord stepped in and some healing took place, or when we all open our hearts to each other and our embracing our love and our you're being able to receive my I am so sorry, your brother, your sister, I am so sorry. You know, when we were able to embrace that, a
Mm.
healing took place.
Mm.
The memory of it remains the same, but it doesn't hurt as bad when you think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And okay, Marla English, I'm about to. There's someone that has a question for you, Mom. I'm gonna. And anybody else that has any questions for my mother or for the both of us on how to navigate hard times when it comes to, you're talking about 20 years with someone, maybe longer than
Yeah.
that for these kids who don't get out at 18 or 19, leave the home. That's a lot of times to make a lot of mistakes. And
Yeah.
one thing I learned, well, hold on, before I even get into it, I'm going to ask you Marla's question, Mom. All right. My
Okay.
question is for Miss Hill. During the darkest season of your adult son's life, how did you determine the when and the how to step in and guide him back to his originally intended purpose?
Well, I can't even say that I did. Because um, well, let me say this to answer your question in a more serious form. I'll say that I was able to he was able to understand that I didn't intentionally. Now, was the damage in it less? No, but
Hmm.
he understood when he heard what I had to say, when I explained what was going on in my mind, he was able to say, "Okay, I can forgive you." And once he did that, we were able to just bit by bit. It didn't happen in one day, and it's in fact the healing is still taking place. It
Hmm.
still is, but he was able to say, okay, let's do what we can to make it happen. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may not, but we will just give each other that space and then come back together again. One of the things that I'll say that showed that the healing was taking place, he wasn't absent any longer. He would be gone 3 or 4 months. Wouldn't hear anything from him. Then when I would hear him, he called, I picked him on, rah, 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 rah. And I said, "Oh my God." But I never hung up. I always allowed him to vent, allowed him to say what he needed to say, even though I would hang the phone up injured. I mean, just I was at work. I worked for an attorney. I was at work one day and he called and he went all the way in. I asked the attorney to please excuse me. I had a important phone call. So I went outside and he let me have it. He let me have it. And so when I hung the phone up, I says, "Okay, God, I need you to help me. I got to go back to work." And so just that particular day, work itself just helped me navigate through it. And I got home and I knew I would hear from him again in about 3 months, you know.
Right. Right. Right.
But it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. But you have to take responsibility to say, okay, I jacked up some stuff. I can't mute his mouth
mm,
because I don't want to hear it.
mm,
I will take responsibility and let him get it out of his system, and
mm,
I did.
mm.
And we're much better now. We're much better.
And I think Marla, as a son's perspective, because so my brother is older. He left the house long, long ago. My sister, well, I just said I was the one that leaned into the family the business the most, which was church, starting churches
Yeah.
and da da da. I started preaching at 15. I started pastoring at 21, and then
Mm,
I resigned from pastoring at 23 because I felt like I was too young and joined someone's church and stayed there to 36. So I was the
mm,
elder, the one, if there was any kind of like, that's the one that's going to take over the family business, it would have been me. Uh,
yeah.
but what was crazy was while all of that was going on, we were estranged. But
Mm,
then when I quote unquote walked away from my purpose, and I'm saying quote unquote in light of guide them back to their originally intended purpose, that's when I reconnected back to my parents. So I
mm,
think, and Mama, let me know if this sounds like this is true or not. I think they had to choose, do we focus on purpose or do we focus on relationship?
mm,
And I felt like now, and Ma, this ain't got to be perfect. You don't have to agree. But what I interpreted when I did come back was, yes, we would love for him to be a preacher. Yes, we would love for him to be in the Christian church and die. But we just thank God our son is back, and that's what matters the most. Would you agree or disagree with that, Ma?
I totally agree.
Hmm.
And even to the point of the statement you made, relationship or purpose. I think in order to reach purpose, there has to be relationship in this instance.
Mm-hmm.
It was more important to reconnect in the relationship, make it as healthy as it could become, and then automatically, I guess that would be a proper term, you would just kind of walk into purpose.
Mm-hmm.
There's Because I don't see purpose being fulfilled
Mm-hmm.
when relationship is not intact.
Mm.
Because it's the same with God. I can't be in relationship with God and jacked up in my relationship with my children.
Got it. Got it. So then
That's my feeling.
got it. So then the what I surmise between what both of us are saying to Marla English is don't focus on guiding him to their purpose. Just focus on rebuilding the relationship. And if the relationship is
Mhm.
not broke because it's at toughest time of their life, be there for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me tell y'all this. For those old school, and I see the other questions that I'm going to be asking soon. Old school Victoria Hill people, back in November, I was talking about black women and had a breakdown of gratitude because at my good age of 42 years old, I needed my parents more about 3 months ago than I needed them at
Mhm.
25 when I wasn't talking to them. And I never
Yeah.
forget one time I was up under a lot of anxiety because of a lot of things that happened to me. And I was at a client and I've texted them in my group there. I got a group there called The Parents. And I said, y'all, pray for me because I feel a lot right now. Before I know it, I got a FaceTime call. Then the next thing, they conference call FaceTime. And these people put down some praying for me, baby. I felt so strengthened. And it wasn't one of those, see, if you turn back to God, da 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 da. It
Mhm.
was, they heard their son.
Mhm.
They heard their son say, help, help, help. I thought they were going to text back, okay, son, we praying. They FaceTimed me, and then after the prayer, they pep talked me. 10 minutes later, I felt like a whole new human. So,
Wow.
so I say to anyone that has an estranged relationship with your parents or with your children, keep the faith because
Mhm.
I didn't reconnect to 37 years old. I
Yep.
probably would not even be here right now. I know I wouldn't have. I
Mm.
would have took my life if I did not have the support of Perry and Angelene Hill. So It's not going to
Wow.
be perfect though, and it still ain't perfect because I know they would way well me get married to a woman, have kids, start a church. Look, if I'm not
Well,
mistaken.
right there.
Uh-huh.
I kind of my mindset with that is a little different
Okay.
because the times are shifting where starting a church doesn't look like what it used to look like.
Uh-huh.
Because the sip and chat show that I do,
Mm-hmm.
that I it's called the new face of evangelism.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so I would be fine with that
Mm-hmm.
right there if I knew I had viewers, somebody watching. Okay, that would be my form of church anymore because things are not what we perceive them years ago.
Okay.
It was that the four walls in that building. That
So
was church.
so don't start a church, but then turn the V. Terrell Hill show into a church, and then say I'm lying and I hush. Now let me see. Sandra Ross. Oh, now Sandra, I'm about to answer your question. Then Jimmy says, then hopped in the car and drove to Atlanta to support him. Listen, y'all, that's true.
Wait, who is Jimmy?
No, these are just people that's viewing. These are
Oh,
people,
okay, gotcha.
that is
Gotcha.
true. There has been
Yeah.
at least 3 times in that period where I was like, y'all, so and so just happened. Okay, me and your daddy coming down Tuesday. And they came.
Yeah.
And they sat on that green couch and looked me in my face.
Don't forget the cooler.
Yeah.
Whip
And I'm gonna answer y'all questions, but bear with me. My parents are old school. One time I challenged, I said, I will buy y'all a ticket to fly and don't bring a cooler with you. Because when my parents come, my dad was like, son, go in the truck and look in the blue cooler, which lets you know there's about 4 of them. The blue cooler. Now in a bag is some mustard. Get that mustard from me. I went in that cooler. They had cabbage, tomatoes, sliced tomatoes, pickles, bread, mayonnaise, mustard. Why? Because in their mind, and then
There is none in Atlanta.
there ain't none in Atlanta. And then let me tell you what they do. They don't just drink my coffee. They bring their own coffee with their own kettle. And it's like they just travel just to be traveling. Oh, Jimmy is Vanjie, Ma. Hey, Van. So now Larry Reed Live says that type of parenting is rare. Let me go send my parents a seed. So yeah, that type of parenting is super rare. Now, Sandra Ross says, Vincent, why were you so angry? I am more open than my mom, so I'm not going to tell why. But what I will say it like this is,
Was it about me?
no, she was talking about why I was so angry when I would be calling and fussing at you and stuff
Okay,
like
gotcha,
that.
gotcha.
Let me just say it like this. Parents parent how they were parented until
Yeah.
they learn how to parent differently.
Absolutely.
My mother was raised by a single mother, and they had what, 8 kids, 7 kids,
7.
7 kids, and the poverty that you see on TLC on the Saturday special about Black poverty in America. And so,
Not quite.
oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Not quite.
Sorry.
I wouldn't do that to her. No, not quite.
Okay, so anyway, it was
bad.
toxic. Let me say it like that.
Yeah.
It was toxic, and so she parented from that toxic space. Is that fair to say? Now this ain't got to be perfect. Let me know if I'm telling it wrong.
Well, not from the poverty space because
Oh,
by
no,
the time
not-
you came along,
Yeah, no, not
yeah,
the
it's
poverty
just
space.
because
Uh-huh.
my mother was under pressure of making sure life happened for her children, so she was always tense and always on edge, and so that's how she dealt with us. I can't even remember, and I know I'm getting out the subject.
Mhm.
I can't even remember a time that my mother hugged me. She didn't have time for hugs. She had to go make a living.
Mm, mm.
So that was a part of who I grew to be.
Absolutely, she was the
Yeah.
strong arm of the family. My father is very passive and
Mhm.
seemingly nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom was the strong arm. And so that energy sort of disconnected without emotion was
Yeah.
how but then there were times at the same time where I remember her dressing me up for a Halloween party. So there were like moments where she was this like a housewife, a PTSA housewife. There was times she volunteered at the elementary, Alamo West Elementary, but then there were other
Yeah.
times where she was very disconnected and very cold at times
Yeah.
in her approach. And I
Mhm.
am very emotional and I'm very empathic and I feel a lot and I take
Mm.
things in. And so how my sister and my brother handled it was different than I. And
Yeah.
so when I finally decided to just express it, I expressed it as toxic as I felt it. Now,
Mhm.
let me say this to parents out there that have kids and there's this toxicity. There was never a time that I hung up the phone because as she did not describe it, she didn't pad it or add to it. I was off the chain. That it did hurt my heart that by the very thought that I could have injured my mom by talking to her like that. So even in the disconnect, I would hang off the phone, and when I calmed down and came back to myself, it's like, dang, man, God, I hope she's okay. So for those of you guys that are in
Mm.
these situations where it's super toxic, your child loves you. Let me tell you, your child, they might not like you.
Mm.
They might not want to be around you, but they love you. And so don't you for a
Absolutely. They do.
moment think that
They
there
do.
is no hope.
Mm.
Um, let's see. Sandra Ross says she's totally understands. Hey, y'all, the name Jimmy on here is my oldest sister, Vanjie. I just didn't have no idea that was you the whole time, Van. And then Marla English says, thank you both for your transparency. Subnexia Raven says, has church ever got in the way of... All right, let's end this show, chat. Y'all be blessed. Somebody else host, I'm leaving. No, all right, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
If this ain't ministry, man, I don't know what is now, so.
See.
Yeah. Has church ever got in the way of relationship with your kids? I know at times it was a boiling point for me, and I found myself saying I miss my mom. Her being at church seemed more important. What do you say about that,
Wow.
Ma?
Church, church, church became an issue
Mm,
because we were so focused on doing the will of God that the kids got lost somewhere
mm,
type thing. Now, were they fed? Were they with us? Did we know where they were physically? Yes.
mm-hmm,
Were they hungry? No. Were they some word we didn't know where they were? Absolutely not.
mm-hmm,
They were right. We was all in the same house, but we did not minister to them as their
mm,
parents. They needed us as children growing up, but and the lack of knowing that they needed us, somewhere in there we thought that everybody having their own bedroom, and this is the way they grew up.
right.
So everybody having their own bedroom, everybody having nice shoes, nice clothes, everybody whatever, you're being cared for.
Mm,
The emotional part we missed while we were doing the will of God, if
mm,
that makes any sense. And I it really took them bringing it to our attention that we were so busy doing God that we missed what we should have been doing, all inclusive God and raising the children. We didn't see nothing wrong with telling them, because in Germany, we were on those autobahns, and I
mm-hmm,
mean they would be in the back seat sleep, because it's like 1:30 in the morning. They got to go to school in the morning,
mm-hmm,
but just so they would sleep, we all of this going on, and so I would say yes to that question. Church did uh, kind of interfere, interrupt, just kind of turned out to be first priority, when in fact the family is first priority. We know that now.
right,
Absolutely.
right,
Yeah.
right. Well, and let me say this, Ma. I need to say this. I appreciate so much, and not just you, but you and Dad's transparency.
Mm,
It's one thing for someone to say it, which we read that comment, but as a son, to, I think one of the more healing parts for me as me, my parents, my family are growing our relationship is honesty and transparency.
Mhm.
And I think that for kids, it's like, especially when you get older, it's like, okay, well, we're sorry for da da da. But then when you hear them talk, their talk doesn't speak of the consciousness, the space of consciousness that the apologies seem to be on. But when you
Mhm.
can hear a parent say, well, and I know this lady loved God. Listen, if I didn't know the time when I did reconnect and I woke up at 6 a.m. and she was on one prayer line, I woke up at 6:45, she was on another one, and at 7:15 another one, and all she spent the whole morning hollering and speaking in tongues, I knew then. But for hear her, I came down that morning and said, you addicted to prayer lines. You got an addiction. But to hear her say that, I think, I say to anybody that is a parent, it is okay to be transparent.
Mhm.
I think
Absolutely.
I think that that's the part that's missing in parenting, transparency. And
Mhm.
so thank you for being transparent and
Sure.
honest. And that's where, if you guys want to know where I get it from, I get it from her, because all I am is an open book, too open for most, for all probably, but I'm open. Yeah, church, it was difficult as the one that was supposed to take over the family business. I loved God, I loved church, so the thing that hurt me was the thing that I was taught to love. And then I was
Mhm.
mad at my parents for loving church seemingly more than me, as
Yeah,
I am now
absolutely.
repeating the same thing. Now I don't feel it necessary to call my parents. So when I was gone those 3 and 4 months that she said she wouldn't hear from me 3 or 4 months, I was running the road for church. I'm talking about serving God with all my might. And I remember her saying, like, well, y'all doing all that running and roning. You can't even call your parent. I'm saying to myself, well, I got that from y'all. Y'all taught me how to do this. And so
You did not say that to yourself.
I said it to y'all.
Oh, you said, oh, okay.
No, you didn't call me out. I'm glad I did say. If I said myself, I meant to say I said that to y'all. So I learned that. I learned that
Yeah.
from them. And then the craziest thing happened. I walked away. I evolved from that space of church, and I showed up at their home by surprise, even though Vanjie told my mom I was coming. And
Really?
remember I was supposed to show by surprise, and Vanjie told you, or she told somebody. And
Okay.
my therapist said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said, "I think I do." Because imagine not being connected to your parents and then just coming to their home. And when they get home, you're just standing there talking about, hey, I'm here. I'm spending the night
Oh,
tonight.
yeah. Yeah. You know what? I did know. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Hey, Walt, how you doing, man? Um, and I think that was the beginning of our relationship. So that's that.
Yes.
So I think that transparency. Oh, and let me say this. For those of you guys that you are the child, right? And whether you're an adult child or not, and you are estranged from your parents, it's a two-way street.
Mhm.
Once you have expressed and are communicated your hurt, your whatever, right? And then that parent, by the grace of God, if they do admit to it and communicate their apologies and y'all have that conversation, you have to be able to give them the kind of respect that you would want to receive from them. So there's things that I would say normally to in front of anybody that I will not say in front of my parents, because if I ask or desire concessions,
Mhm.
then I need to be able to give concessions. If that makes sense what I'm saying.
It
And that
does.
is one of the keys, because it can't be just, I'm going to do all, I'm going to disrespect you and I'm going to just ride all over you. And because you hurt me 10 years ago, you are supposed to just take it. Now, if it's not safe enough for you to give concessions, then you need to probably think about not being around them anyway, period. So this is
Mhm.
for when the relationship starts mending. So my parents are super traditional. I am not, in my beliefs, how I serve God, and my sexuality. I am totally off the rails. But And they know that, and they are clear on that, and they know I am capable of saying anything. But I choose to dial it down around them because of respect. Because one thing I can't take is that kind of Christian slurring, the kind of, what am I saying? Oh, my father is on. Hey, Dad. Perry Hill is on. I'm listening. Good show. Thank you for this show. Oh, you're welcome. Now, listen, this is a quiet man, but he's potent. He's passively potent. And we all know that the patriarch is the patriarch.
He ain't gonna play with it like that.
Right. The patriarch is the patriarch, and we stand on his shoulders. He served 24 years in the military, and then he retired again. He then got another government job and retired twice. And the reason why I'm able to, I say this all the time. One of the reasons why I'm so free with my mouth is because I know I got something to fall on.
Oh my God.
I ain't got nothing to really lose. Because if times get rough, I can just follow my parents.
Come on, there's a room waiting for you. Just come on.
So it's like, what? Listen, I got to. So anyway.
He would never come back home. He's just talking.
Never. No, it ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm just not built like that. I am built to just figure it out. Now I'll come back and stay about.
We have watched you figure it out. I mean, when I was just standing by the wayside, saying, "Hey, you don't have to go through it like that." I remember you saying, "Mom, if I need you, I'll let you know." And I watched you. Now, in my eyes, you need me, right? Don't you need me? You're like, "Mom, if I need you, I'll let you know." And oh my God, I had one foot in the car, is already started up.
Trust me.
And the other one hanging out, headed to Atlanta. And he said, "No, if I need you, I'll let you know." And we watched that. We did. We watched you survive that storm.
Listen. Don't make me cry. All right, so I want you to, I want you to look at this video. I want you guys to look at this video. My mother is a first lady. She has seen her husband go through a lot, so she's going to give a first lady opinion on what I'm about to show. I want you guys' opinion too. Oh, Lord, before I do that, if you have found value in today, y'all are doing it. Find value in today's show, like, share, subscribe, and comment. If you have not subscribed, do me a favor, please subscribe. I'm almost to 1,000. It's taken me a little less than 6 months to do it, and I appreciate you guys for that. I offer the candid talk that we have shared with you today, has afforded me a lot of wisdom. And the reality is I'm still ministering and preaching. I just don't do it traditionally anymore. And one of the ways that I let it out is through consultations, where I get on a video conference call with you. And I promise you this, if you get on this video conference call with me, your life is going to absolutely shift from one space to the next, all right? I offer a free call for 30 minutes, one free. All you have to do is email me at info@vterrellhill.com and put in the subject line free consultation. Matter of fact, I got to get off of here soon because I got one coming up. I also want you to join my email list. Now, this show is a variety show. I talk about some of everything. Sorry, I can't help you send email. I talk about everything that comes to my mind through the week. But on my email community, it's 100% positivity and uplifting. Nice. All right. And the emails really are a really good, and it's free. All you got to do is click the link in the video description box of Facebook and YouTube, put your name and email address in there. All right. And then you're going to get 2 confirming emails, one from me welcoming you and the other making sure you signed up. All of the information that I just shared with you is in the video description box of Facebook and YouTube. Thank y'all so much. You'll be back in the pulpit, so enjoy it while it's whatever. All right, so Ma, I want you to watch this, okay? And let me know your thoughts.
It's Jamila's husband. Thank you. Now back to what I was trying to say. I'm gonna get in trouble, but I'm gonna whoop her ass. like me. I'm sorry, Joint College the Bishop. Oh, I got eyes on her. I got eyes on you, baby. When I see you, I promise you, I'm gonna make Larry read again. And this time, it's because you got the.
All right, Ma. Ooh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ooh-wee.
Okay.
Well, I'll say this. I don't know what she's been through. I don't know what she's going through. But never ever, under no circumstance. But I won't judge her because again, people live their lives based on their experiences. I'm not the typical first lady, but it ain't like that non-typical. But nah, that's not me. That's not me. Now, if she's good with that, and the members of the congregation are good with that, her circle, her bishop, her husband, if they all good with that, go for it. But that's not me.
Do you at least
because
understand?
first of all,
Okay.
huh?
All right. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say because I have not had experiences. I guess I've not been around the right people to get those experiences where somebody coming for the man, all up in your face, coming for your man, type thing. I don't have those experiences. That my experiences are laid back. If I see anything that could be shady, I just kind of make this relationship with the female because you can better get your enemy figured out when they're nearby you. So I just kind of pull them in to see what's really going on.
So you would have a little more covertly. Like you would be a little bit more wise with it. Wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, would I invite her over and leave and go to Atlanta, spend 2 weeks with you while she's here with my husband? Absolutely not. But
well, see, that's the difference between a young pastor's wife and an aged pastor's wife. Because the aged pastor's wife know how to hug your friend, you kiss you on your cheek, make you feel real good, and befriend you to watch you to keep you from her man. The young pastor's wife, so that's the difference. Hey, Van says, that's why I don't preach, nor will I be a pastor's wife, because that would be me. Absolutely. Now, Ma,
absolutely.
Ma, do you remember a young man that Van and I went to high school with named Popeye?
No.
Oh, gosh. Well,
maybe he's a different name.
Yeah, you probably knew his, see, I only know his name. It's Jerome, ain't it? I think it's Jerome. We played football. I forgot what sport we played. Anyway, he's on here. He says it's been too long, Mama Hill. Yeah. Let's see. Walt B Connection says, I hope she ain't doing all that talking and mess around and get whooped. Yeah, when you talking like that, you better be able to fight, right? Because yeah.
But see, that's another thing. I've never been a fighter.
Me either.
I'm one of these people. I will not go back and forth with you because it's pointless. It's pointless for me to argue with you. You'll leave my presence every day telling people, "Oh, I got her. I had the last word," and you are correct. Right. Because I will not go back and forth. I do not fight. I've never been a fighter, so I've learned to navigate in different ways, not like that.
Yeah, I'm not no fighter either. I think my mouth has been a repellent because folks think I'm crazy. I'm not that crazy. I don't fight. Lord, no. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else to talk about? You were a military wife.
Yeah.
First lady, mom.
Let me say this. Let me say this. A lot of the actions. Now, this is not to take away from the fact that I was damaged and I created damage, but been a military wife. When these guys or the women enter the military, they tell the spouse, the one that would be with the children, they let you know straight up front that your husband or your wife belongs to me. This is Uncle Sam talking. They
Absolutely.
belong to me.
Hmm.
That he's on a mission. He don't have time to come out of the field, to come off the mission to put your little boy intact. That's what you're there for.
Right.
And if he ever has to abort his mission to come home to those unruly children, it's going to be a problem.
Hmm.
And a lot of the behavior with you guys was because we cannot afford your dad's military career to be damaged because y'all are out of control. So growing up, I watched my brothers out of control. And I watched what it did to my mother. And I remember saying when they would always wait to midnight to start off this crazy stuff, and we would have to get pulled out of the bed to go up to the godmother's house because they were crazy. And I would always say, when I get married and have kids, we're not going to have these issues.
Mm.
And I think possibly that was some of it because I remember an instance where your brother did something really crazy,
Hmm.
and your dad was gone to on TDY or something, and the police got involved, and all of that, and I had to pull it in. I mean, I don't know if you remember or not. I ran him all through the backyard with a butcher knife, and I was not going to cut my child,
Hmm.
but he didn't know that
Right.
because I had to get him to understand we're not doing this.
Right.
And forever, he's like, "You abused me. You were going to kill me. I was going to kill that boy."
Hmm. Right. Yeah.
So a lot of that behavior was based on that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I could put that and surmise in about 2 sentences. Like, let me ask you this. Do you think that, because what I do know was you sort of had to raise us as a temporary single mother, because my
Yeah.
father spent, for every month he was at home, sometimes he would be gone for another month. And so,
Yeah, he would be home 2 weeks and gone 2 weeks.
right. So do you think that was triggering for you? Like, we've already talked about the kids. Let's just talk about you for a second. Do you think that was triggering for you? Like, it sort of puts you in that space of coming up with your mother and the kids, having to raise them alone kind of thing?
It was very triggering because I would always think back on some instances when we were being raped, when I was a child, and what was having to take place,
Hmm.
and the pressure that my mother was under. I felt under it as well, especially when I get a call from the school saying this, that, or the other, and I got to figure out what to do with this to make sure, because anything that took place, the military would find out. So I've got to intercept all of that and pull it into tact. So when they get it, it won't be a suggestion that Sergeant Hill has to come off his post and go see about it. What they would be is that mission accomplished. She took care of it type thing.
Yeah, and again, we've already discussed that my brother, sister, and I have very much communicated to the 10th degree our grievances. So I'm not letting my mother. We've had a lot of conversations. So I think we got space to talk about this. To her
Right.
point, that's true, because my sister and I, because really for my sister and I being in Germany, we saw our classmates get kicked out of Germany. Like,
Yes.
no, bye. We ain't stuck nothing about your mama and your daddy here. Bounce. Why?
Yeah.
Because they got in 3 fights on post. Three fights, 3 strikes, you out. Goodbye. I'll never forget. I had fatigues on, and the command sergeant major walked up to me. Who your daddy? And I said, Sergeant First Class Hill. He looked, and he walked away. And I knew enough to go back to my dad and say, I was at the dentist's office wearing fatigues. Probably shouldn't have been wearing them, but that's another story for another day. And the command sergeant major asked me who you was, just FYI, to let you know, because
Yeah.
there was, our behavior would be a direct consequence, I guess that's the word, to my father, whether the positive or the negative. So to that point, that is true. Mom, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that if you've watched this, that you have some kind of encouragement. You've been able to receive some kind of encouragement, whatever side of the aisle you're on, whether you're on the child side trying to reconnect with your parents, or the parent side wanting to reconnect with your child. There is
Right.
still hope, y'all. And not
It
just
is
that,
hope.
in any relationship, including the relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
In every single relationship in your life, if even if the other party is not breathing, there's still hope for reconciliation within yourself. That
Yeah.
wound don't have to be there forever, but it's going to take a little
Right.
time. It's going to take a little space. It's going to take a little patience. It's going to take some transparency. It's going to take some, here's what I did wrong. Okay, well, here's what I did wrong. I apologize. So if you're willing to do what I would call the big boy and big girl work, that relationship can be fixed, all right? So I
Yeah.
hope that you find courage in this. If you want a one-on-one consultation, if you want to talk about this more, email me at info@vterrellhill.com and put in the subject line, free consultation. I'll send you a link. You set the appointment in for 30 minutes. We'll talk one-on-one. I promise you, your entire life is going to shift from one space to the next when we're done. As well, join my email community, which is 100% non-messy, 100% positive. Why am I saying that?
It's really nice.
It's
very nice.
yeah, my mom is
Yeah.
on it, and she often responds to them. And the reason why I say non-messy and positive, because tomorrow we're going back to hot topics, okay? And we got some topics to be hot about. So,
I would like to say one more thing before we exit.
uh-huh.
I would like to say my standards, my values of serving God, they remain the same. I would just, if I had to do it over again, I would do the same thing, but I would do it differently. Same thing, meaning I feel the same about my relationship with God, but because I now understand that I had to have a relationship, I had to raise my children. The relationship with them had to be healthy, even as adults. Even as adults, I would carry the same values, standards, but so much more is clear. So much is more clear now that you serving God is not that frame that we saw. It's so much more in depth. There, how can you love God and you don't love one another? How can you be in healthy relationship with God when you're not in healthy relationship
Absolutely.
with your children?
Absolutely.
That's if they are, whatever. Because there's some people that just simply won't allow you to be in a relationship. You can't do anything about that.
Right.
But the case between myself, my husband, myself, and my children, that was different. So I still feel the way I feel about God. I still feel the same way.
And if you didn't, I would be disappointed.
I know.
I would be disappointed.
Yeah.
Because for me, even though I don't align 100% with our belief systems are not the same, when I see you and Dad and how y'all move about, I went to the conference last weekend or weekend before last. The thing that screams to me is faithfulness. Like being faithful to something and believing that something until the meat fall off the bone. And so I would be disappointed because I feel like everybody has a different journey and everybody has a different path. But I feel like what the path that you and Dad are living is true to you all. Y'all ain't faking it. And because I know it's true and I believe in y'all's belief in it, I honor it. And I would be like, now, hold on a second. I'm over here cussing, but it better not come out your mouth. But now,
Hello.
So, no, absolutely. And to say this, I don't regret the teachings.
Wow.
I don't, if someone to say, well, if you had to do it over again, what would you do different? It would be the home life. I don't regret. I found so much community in church. Between Sunday school and the people and the connection and after church and the church children and going to Fulda and the convocations. That is the highlight of my life. So, no, same. I absolutely agree.
Right.
Let's see here. Miss Hill, you are absolutely correct. The first sergeant told me the Army didn't issue my husband a wife nor children. The responsibility of raising them was on me. See?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Larry Life says, tell people you are accepting preaching engagements again. Who is who?
He's talking to you.
I ain't got no problem preaching. Let me tell y'all something. I ain't got no problem preaching. I just don't want to be bothered. That's the difference. Because once you come in their pulpit and you give them a word, people then want to put you in a box and think, if it's this powerful, he must be this. No, I'm powerful. I'm full of the word and full of spirit, but I'm also committed to being me. And I think that if I
you don't have to go in the box. You really don't have to go in the box. Look at me. How many years have I not been in the box? and I'm enjoying life.
Yeah,
and
we're
getting
about
the
to end
mission
this. We're about to end this. God bless everybody for because what it won't be is this. Well, hey, no sir, no, but somebody inboxed me like 2 weeks ago. You ever thought about starting a church? Have you ever thought about blocking me? Have you ever thought about getting out of my life? So what I look like? I cannot. Anyway, y'all can give me the hives. Anyway, what was I saying? Ow! Join my email community, and all that information is in the video description box of Facebook and YouTube. Shamaka Bryant says convocations was the highlight of my year. Absolutely. As church kids, going to those conventions and stuff like that, second to none. I would not take it back. I crave it. I wish I could find that kind of warmth and community again as an adult. Like just the church people and the getting together and the blah, 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 blah. But now as an adult, it's very political in the church, and it's very
Well,
oh, you know what? No, sorry, because I forgot. I have a guest on that's very much in the church. I'm just saying.
Well, I beg to differ because the last weekend was just totally organic, and it was awesome. It was warm. It was healthy.
That's true. Okay, all right. I was just saying stuff. Y'all leave me alone. God, dog. I'm sitting here. This is my show. God, dog it. Make me nervous. I'm being unsmoked a cigarette now. Jesus.
Oh my God.
Give me break out in halves. Oh, this care no. At any rate, I hear all this comment about undefined and box. I'm gonna block all of y'all. Larry Live, I'm gonna block you.
Let me hear him. I want to hear him. I can't see him. Let me hear him.
Okay, well, ma'am, that's because you didn't pull up your phone. I'm tired of this. I'm getting off of this thing. Y'all make me nervous. No.
So is Larry Reed is on?
Larry was on. Shamako just came up talking about convocations. Sahexia Raven says, thank you for answering that question. That's it, being undefined definition. All right, guys, so thank you so much. I am open to being used by God. That's it, point blank, period. That's all I got. Now my nose is itching. Y'all be blessed. I don't even know how to end this show. So anyway, join my email community by clicking the link in the bio of the video description box of Facebook and YouTube. As well, I got to go because, listen, I have some consultations that I have to do tonight after the show, so I got to get ready for that. If you want a free consultation, I am graced by God to help people become their best selves, and I want to help you. If you want to know how to get that free consultation, just go in the video description box, go to the bottom of Facebook and YouTube. You get all the information you need there. Yes, I'm getting nervous, and that's okay because it doesn't sound like you're open enough. You know what? Bye. Y'all be blessed. See y'all later. Goodbye. Mine don't go nowhere because I'm going to come back, so stay on, okay? Y'all be blessed. Bye. I ain't studying none of y'all.